I've done a little research on this, and this is actually the most effective way to build your biceps because it engages the highest percentage of muscle fibers. Hey guys, Mark McKinley with Live Anabolic, and today I want to give you the 3 best and worst bicep exercises for men over 50, screw it, for any age man. Look, one of my best friends, he's in his 20s, he's in the Marines, he's a captain. This is me, obviously, working out together, doing a military style workout program. I promise, these tips and tricks, things to do and things to avoid, are great for anybody no matter what your age is, especially if you're trying to build big biceps, and everybody wants big arms, right? But before we get there, all right, I just want you to realize that this is just a single muscle group, all right? All these exercises that Gary and I give you here on YouTube are fun to do, but they're not programs. They're not things that you should follow every day of the week, obviously. You know, you need to work all facets of your physique and your nutrition, which is critical if you're trying to lose weight. And we have some fantastic 90-day programs that you should check out, guys. Click the link below this video, it'll take you to our website. And Gary and I have developed some really wonderful multi-phase, multi-month workout programs that are fantastic, and they've changed the lives of tens of thousands of men all over the world. I mean, it's been going on for years. We got a fantastic Facebook group of guys, but you have to do everything. You can't just hit your biceps. But the video today is just that, just biceps. All right, guys, so all the exercises I'm gonna show you today, the best ones and the things you should avoid, obviously are done at home. There are some fantastic bicep exercises that you can do at the gym, but it requires those specific machines, those expensive machines that only exist at a gym. So these can all be done at home. They're real straightforward. And let's start off with the best bicep exercises today. All right. First one is something called a supinated curl, all right? So before I do this, we're gonna be using some dumbbells. I wanna just go through the motion and show you the form with no dumbbell in my hand so you can kind of see what's going on. So when I'm holding these dumbbells, my hands are gonna wanna naturally come down to my side, and my palms are gonna wanna face inward, okay? That's a neutral position. And we're gonna do one arm at a time, so these are gonna be alternating curls. So as I bring the dumbbell up, I immediately want to start rotating my wrist so that my palm is facing straight up. Matter of fact, I want to get my pinky as high as possible. So as I start to rotate my hand, I engage more and more of my overall bicep muscle fibers, okay? So if I keep my hand straight up and down like this and I don't supinate my wrist, I will work my bicep, but I won't engage as many muscle fibers. So the key to building big biceps, guys, obviously, is to get as much of the muscle fiber involved as possible, okay? So here we go, I'm gonna step you through this here. All right, real straightforward, guys. As soon as I get the dumbbell past my thigh, then I can start rotating, all right? And as I bring it back down, I have to wait, and at the very last second, I rotate the dumbbell out of the way of my thigh. So left arm up, and then down. And so when I'm doing this, guys, obviously look at the form. I'm really controlling the weight up and down. And then I slightly lean to the side I'm doing. That allows me to get the dumbbell away from my side, and then I can start rotating or supinating my hand as soon as I get the dumbbell past my thigh and out of the way. So at the top of the movement, my little pinky is as high as I can get it. I mean, I can't twist my wrist anymore, okay? So when you do this type of curl, you're engaging more muscle fibers than if you keep your hand or your wrist in a static position, and that's the way to get bigger arms. All right, guys, another great exercise for building big biceps is something called an incline curl. So yes, I do have an incline bench here at my house. If you don't have one, I'm gonna show you a simple little trick, okay, after this, on how you can also do incline curls. Now, the reason this is so interesting in an exercise that you need to work into your schedule is because When you lean back, see how my elbows are behind my back now? So what I'm doing is I'm putting my bicep in a stretched position from the very beginning, at the very start. My bicep is already stretched. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna curl up and I'm gonna rotate and supinate my hand as I go through the motion. All right, so you can do them supinated like I'm doing here, where you bring your hands down into a neutral position at the bottom. And at the bottom of the movement, my palms are facing inward, okay? Or you can do them like this. You turn your palms so that they're facing out or up, and you just curl straight up and down, okay? But either technique is really good because I'm starting from an incline position, which means my elbows are behind my back and my bicep is already stretched to its maximum length. And then I start curling from that position, completely different from every other type of bicep curl. All right, so guys, if you don't have an incline bench at home, this is a little trick, okay, where you can still do an incline curl. Remember, we just want to get our elbow behind our back. So I'm sitting on the armchair here, and we're gonna do one arm at a time. So I'm gonna lean back just a little bit, okay? See where my elbow is? And once again, I'm just gonna curl and really focus on the form here, guys. So I'm gonna do one arm at a time. You can't do alternating, okay? So you do one set on the right side of the chair, then you move over and you do your left arm on the left side of the chair. It's as simple as that. All right, so the third exercise is fantastic for your biceps. Now, even though it's third, it's not the third best. I've done a little research on this, and this is actually the most effective way to build your biceps because it engages the highest percentage of muscle fibers. They've done some studies where they put electrodes on your arm and they measure, okay, all this kind of stuff. And that is something called a concentration curl. So we're just gonna be doing one arm at a time, hence you're concentrating on that one arm. I like to do it seated down like this, and I'm gonna put my elbow on my thigh. Some people do it this way. I like to put my offhand right here and put my elbow right where my hand meets my thigh. Just experiment, see which way you like better. It doesn't matter. It's just as effective either way. I think this anchors my elbow really well. It's not gonna move around. And I can really, really just focus on perfect form here. It's concentration. All right. So once again, you see how I'm supinating my hand at the bottom of the movement. My hand is in a neutral position. My hand's pointed towards the center of my body. As I bring the dumbbell up, I start rotating it so that my palm is facing straight up towards the ceiling. And one thing, guys, is don't do this, right? No swinging. Come to a stop at the bottom and then squeeze the bicep muscle. Really get that mind muscle connection going. And I've said this before, but I watch videos of huge professional bodybuilders do these type of exercises, and they do not go extremely heavy. Matter of fact, I'm thinking, wow, that's not much more weight than I do, and they're twice my size. What's because? It's because they don't care about impressing other people in the gym, all right? When it comes to weight, all they care about is building muscle, and the best way to build muscle is to use moderate weight and super good form. All right, we finished with the three best. Let's talk about the three worst, all right? So, number one is not a broomstick. Number one is a straight bar. I don't have a bar at home, okay? So for most of you guys who work out at home, you probably just have dumbbells and bands, but a few of you guys do. Some of you guys go to the gym and work out. This is what I would avoid, using a straight bar. Why is that so bad? Well, it's bad, especially for us older guys, all right? Because we're not as limber as we were when we were younger. And this is what happens with me, at least, all right? When I try to grab this like this, it puts my wrists in a really uncomfortable position relative to my elbows, all right? So if my elbows can move around, I can do my wrists like that. So when I'm doing a dumbbell curl and I'm supinating, it doesn't bother me because my hand will only go as far as it feels comfortable. But when you put a bar in here and you do that, it's actually twisting your wrist further than it naturally would want to go. So I don't like using straight bars on any kind of curl. Now, some of you guys are going to have something called an easy bar. Okay, they have them at the gym, and the handles are bent so that when you're holding the bar, instead of your hands facing perfectly straight up, which is kind of in an awkward position, they're bent. And so your hands are in a much more natural curling position. So guys, just avoid, you don't need to use a barbell to build big biceps. Okay, so what's the second worst exercise for building big biceps? Well, this is a little trick, okay? This is a trick question. Any exercise where you use bad form. Biceps are one of those muscle groups where it's really easy to cheat, okay? And when I say cheat, I mean you use momentum. So, you know, if you're doing two hands, people do this. And it doesn't look like much, really, right? The problem is at the bottom, I'm letting the dumbbell swing behind me, and then it naturally wants to come back to rest right here. Well, that little bit of momentum I can use to help lift it up, okay? So you want the dumbbells, or barbell, but I would recommend not a straight bar, basically to come to a stop at the bottom, okay? Don't let them swing behind your body. Don't let them swing behind your leg, okay? So they're gonna come to the bottom, and then you're gonna deliberately, slowly lift that dumbbell up. So see how still it is on my off hand? And I'm starting from a still position. I can see people do it wrong like this. Watch this. So they'll start here, and they'll come over here, and the dumbbell will go back before they actually start the movement. They go back, and then they bring it up. They go back, and then they bring it up. You're screwing yourself, guys. You're not getting, okay, the most out of the exercise. Now, the other thing you can do wrong is, even if you're starting at the bottom properly, all right, and you're bringing the dumbbells up perfect, you let them fall down. Bring them up perfect, and then just kind of let them fall down. All right, so the negative part of the movement is just as important as the contraction, okay? So that's a concentric movement, and then this is the eccentric part of a lift. And lots of studies say that the lowering of the weight is actually more important than the contraction or the lifting part of the weight. So mistake number 2, bad form. Okay, so what's the third worst exercise for building big biceps? Well, I'm sorry guys, it's kind of like number 2. It's also a trick, okay? It's not actually an exercise. It's the way of doing or the timing of your exercises. So if we're really looking just to build big biceps, if that is our focus, okay, then don't train biceps after you did back. Don't do them on the same day, all right? Especially don't do back first. That's because all the back movements, all right, on every exercise involve contracting your bicep. So when you're doing lat pull downs, when you're doing rows, when you're doing pretty much any back exercise, you're also engaging your biceps. Nothing wrong with that, right? Matter of fact, you're getting, it's a compound movement. The problem is, remember, the goal today is just how do I build the biggest biceps possible? That means your biceps need to be rested when we start working them out. That we can put way more intensity into the workout of the actual muscle that we're targeting, right? So if we do back first, our biceps are fatigued by the time we start doing bicep specific exercises, and you won't be able to put nearly as much intensity. You won't be able to lift as much weight with the same form, all right? And you just won't get nearly as much out of those particular bicep exercises. So timing is really important, guys, especially if the goal is to get big old giant biceps. And then finally, biceps are not the only muscle group, guys. They're sexy, they look great, I get it. But we need to work on our entire body, all right? The nutrition is also critical. That's why I really recommend you click the link below this video, because it'll take you to our website where we have lots of different 90-day programs that you guys will absolutely love. Gary has developed several, I've got several on there. Just read about them, pick the one that you think sounds the most interesting or is best suited for you and your goals. That's all I ask. They're multi-phase programs. They're really interesting. They change continually from month to month to month. That's why they're so successful, and it's also what keeps them interesting and fun to do. And then finally, guys, you got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.